Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today and would like to thank the Volo Foundation for giving us the opportunity to share with you our work on climate action in Florida. Our topic of discussion today is climate responsibility and for profit enterprises. I will be presenting alongside our network members Chris Cucci with Climate First Bank and Emma Jacobs with Legacy Vacation Resorts. My name is Winnie Mulamba, she, her pronouns, and I am the executive director at the For Good Movement. The topics we will cover today include who is For Good Movement, what we do and why we do it, and then we'll get to hear case studies from Legacy Vacation Resorts and Climate First Bank on the role of business in addressing climate change. So, who are we? For Good Movement is a 501c3 whose vision is to transform capitalism for resilience in the face of shifting demographics, shocks, and stresses that are frequently occurring and with more magnitude. Just here in Florida, we're seeing an upward trend in the occurrence of flash floods, red tides, tropical storms, hurricanes. We're currently on the watch out for Ian. And you recognize that businesses are also affected by these disasters and that they should be a part of the solution. And this means that businesses need to shift away from the conventional thinking that the social responsibility of a business is to maximize on profits, but rather use business as a force for good. For Good Movement, therefore, supports the need to transition to a stakeholder economy, which, as we know, is a systematic approach to achieving organizational goals by involving and harmonizing the interests of all stakeholders and not just your shareholders. And now that you know what our mission is, I'm going to take you through our main initiatives, which include Florida for Good and our Bee Tourism initiative in the next couple of slides. Florida for Good is an initiative that was inspired by the global B Corp movement. And for those who did not know what a B Corporation is, these are companies that have been verified to meet the highest standards of social and environmental performance, public transparency, and legal accountability to balance profits and purpose. So the Florida for Good initiative is a network of industry experts, businesses, academia, and local government working together to support businesses as a force for good. You do not necessarily have to be a B Corp to participate in our network or engage in our programs because we encourage and invite all businesses that generally just want to do good. The main goals under this initiative include educating businesses on best practices to increase resiliency and reduce their exposure to risk during systemic shocks. We provide free assessment tools to assist businesses in measuring their stakeholder impact and compare their performance with their peers both locally and globally. We collaborate with other like-minded networks such as Conscious Capitalism, 1% for the Planet, the Sustaining Foundation, CERES, among others, to increase awareness about the bee community. We also engage in policy advocacy to increase support for businesses that are contributing to the greater good, and we participate in collective action to advance the impact of big corporations and other conscious business entities in the area. And lastly, we act as a credible source of information on what true impact looks like for businesses. I just mentioned that we provide free assessment tools to our network members to help them map out where they are and where they'd like to go when it comes to creating their social and environmental impact. So you provide two tools, and one is the Business Impact Assessment tool, and the other one is the SDG Action Manager tool. I'm going to take you over these tools briefly so that you can get an understanding on what businesses get to do when they are using these tools. So the first tool is the Business Impact Assessment tool, which is a holistic tool that evaluates both the business model and the day-to-day operations of a company to rate the company's overall impact on their shareholders, their workers, their community, and the environment. It also allows companies to compare their impact with other businesses, both locally and globally. As you can see on the screen, the B Impact Assessment is divided into five stakeholder focused areas. These are governance, workers, community, environment, and the customers. And each of the mentioned impact area is organized by impact topics that describe the specific dimensions of impact relevant to that stakeholder. So, for example, under workers, you see that there are a number of impact topics such as financial security, career development, etc., which are specific to the workers in an organization. So under these topics, you will see questions asking about your pay structure, if you pay a minimum wage or you pay a living wage, the actions that you're taking towards employee engagement and satisfaction. So it's very rigor and very, very inclusive. The impact topics illustrated in white relate to the company's day-to-day operations, meaning that the questions under these sections will look at the impact of the company's facilities, purchases, internal policies, governance structures, etc., while the topics are illustrated in color will relate to the company's overall business model. And questions under this section will look like the company's products or service, will look at a particular process or activity, or will also look at the structure of the business itself. And then we also provide the SDG Action Manager tool, which helps companies set goals, track progress, and stay motivated on specific actions to support the Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the SDGs. The tool is organized into 17 modules, beginning with the required baseline module that provides the starting point for all users, followed by 16 modules focused on the individual Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 17, which is Partnership for the Goals, is not included as a module, but rather cross-cuts the 16 individual modules. The baseline module is designed to be comprehensive and covering cross-cutting principles across SDGs. It focuses on topics such as human rights, labor practices, environmental management systems, and good governance. On the other hand, the SDG-specific modules features questions designed to go deeper into the many different ways in which businesses can make concrete contributions towards the individual SDGs. I just took you through our Florida for Good initiatives and also the tools that we provide to our network members to help them map out their social and environmental impact. And now I'm going to take you through our other initiative, which is called Tourism. So, B-Tourism was inspired by the operational transparency and the overall credibility of the B Corp certification, and it specifically focuses on tourism and the hospitality industry. The decision to start this initiative was mainly driven by the fact that tourism is one of Florida's biggest economic drivers, and we cannot really ignore the impact it has on our communities and the environment. So this initiative brings together businesses that are in the travel and tourism space, and we talk about best practices and how we can continue to support climate action in this space. So, how can you support the bee community? This slide takes you through various ways in which you can support the bee community through your purchasing actions, you as an employee, you as an employer, you as a business owner, you as an investor, generally just you as a human being. How can you support the bee community? And the first way of doing this is through responsible buying. Where do you spend your money? Voting with your dollar is an everyday action, and it is one of the most powerful ways in which you can start supporting the bee community. Then we have responsible employment, choosing to work for employers that not only care about profits, but also support the regenerative economy and your well being. Then we have responsible banking and investments. Does your bank and or your investments align with your values? If you care about this type of work, then you're better off holding your money with an institution that is committed to creating social and environmental good without funding causes that can harm people and or the planet. Then we have responsible entrepreneurship. If you're planning to start a business or know someone who has intentions of doing so, then you should think about a business model that is not solely existing for profit maximization. And lastly, we want to have a responsible community, and that is what we are aiming to build through these actions. So I know you're wondering, how can I support the B community through my purchasing actions or through my employer or finding jobs? This slide shows you some of the global brands that have been certified as B corporations. They include some of the leading consumer brands that you may recognize, such as Ben& Jerry's, Etsy, Patagonia, Tom's, Good Jeans, etc., etc. And you can find more of them on the bcorporation.net website, which is a part of BLUB. And just to give you more context, BLUB is a global nonprofit that oversees the standardization and the certification process of B Corps, almost similar to the model of USGBC and LEED buildings. There are approximately 5,500 plus certified B Corps in about 84 countries. And on this slide, we show you some of the Florida local brands that have been certified or have a pending status to becoming B Corps. We have Climate Fast Bank, we have Mother Kombucha, we have Uncle Mart's, we have Salt Palm Development, Diamond View, Harness Giving, etc., etc. And just so you know, Florida is leading the B Corp certification in the Southeast region, and we are hoping to get more support to continue to lead and to bring more businesses into the fold. We maintain a directory of companies that are participating in this space at the Florida for Good website. We have about 184 businesses that have at least used the business impact assessment tool, and our aim is to grow this number. And with that, I will hand over the mic to our network member, Climate Fast Bank, the first bank in Florida who is in the process of getting certified as a B Corp.
Hi, my name is Chris Cucci, and I'm the Chief of Staff and Senior Vice President at Climate First Bank. It's great to be here today so I can talk to you about some of the things that we're doing at Climate First to address climate change as a company and how we help our clients to address climate change in their business and in their daily lives. So first, a little bit about us. Climate First Bank opened our first office last year in June 2021 in St. Petersburg, Florida. We are a Florida Benefits Corporation, a certified B Corp pending, and we're focused on loan and deposit products that have a positive environmental and social impact in the communities that we serve. The bank currently operates out of 2 physical locations. Those are in St. Pete and in Winter Park, which is just outside of Orlando, Florida. And while we do intend to have some limited number of physical locations, the bank has a digital forward model. We're focused on providing a personalized customer experience through digital channels, which allows our consumer and business customers to conveniently bank with us and to accomplish nearly all of their banking from the comfort of their home or office. And what does it mean to be a values-based bank? It means that we're focused on educating our clients to better understand that when you put your money in a bank, you are indirectly funding the loans that the bank issues. So where you put your money matters. People who bank with us can rest assured knowing that their deposits are being redeployed in the community to fund loans that have a positive environmental or social impact. And just as important as what we will do as a bank is what we will not do. We have a long list of industries that we will not serve, which includes, but is not limited to, extractive industries, dirty energy, bad agriculture, the for-profit prison system, non-sustainable tract home development, tobacco, pornography, non-military weapons manufacturing, and more. So that brings us to the question of how do we address climate change within our business? And for us, it's all about transparency and authenticity. We know that if we were to just tell the public about what we do as a company, that we are net zero, we measure the carbon impact of our employees and our company, we engage in sustainability activities within our business and more, that this could still be susceptible to internal bias. So we align ourselves with third parties to help keep us honest and true to the mission. This includes We Are Neutral, a nonprofit in Gainesville that helps the bank with measuring our carbon impact and, when necessary, buying carbon credit offsets. We work with Partnership for Carbon Accounting Financials, or PCAF, who provide a third-party audit of the bank's financials for carbon impact. We're a member of 1% for the Planet, and we have committed to donate 1% of our net interest margin, the main way a bank makes money, each year to this environmental nonprofit, and estimate that we will contribute over $60,000 at the end of 2022, with that number growing very quickly as our loan portfolio grows. We are also a member of the Net Zero Banking Alliance, which is another third party that keeps us genuine to our commitment to be a net zero bank. And just important as this transparency is our focus on education. So all employees at the bank have our impact specialist bonus included in their annual compensation. Through this, they're able to earn an additional increase on their annual salary when they do things like commute via e-bike or electric vehicle, compost at home, read and report out to the team on books that are on our environmentalism reading list, install solar on their home, and more. For our clients and the general public, we're constantly providing education. When a customer comes to us with what I refer to as a mission agnostic loan, think of something like a consumer wanting to build a regular old house, or a dentist who approaches the bank wanting to build a new office. We'll certainly consider that loan since it does not go against our exclusionary list. But we will also educate the client on the benefits of green construction. We help them to understand that there's often a financial benefit by doing the right thing for the planet and for society, and that sustainability can actually be truly be a win-win. So that brings us to clients. How do we help our clients to address climate change? And we do this by offering solutions. This includes things like solar loans for residential and commercial buildings, electric vehicle charging infrastructure loans, also very popular these days. Just last year, maybe about 4 months after we opened the bank, we launched a Green Community Association loan program, which helps homeowner associations and condo associations finance green building retrofits, rooftop solar, and EV charging infrastructure at their properties. We saw a great need in this space because in many parts of Florida, there is what's called a 30-year condo recertification law. And with the condo boom that occurred across Florida in the 1980s, we knew that the next decade was going to see many communities across the state seeking to invest in required structural improvements. So why not take that opportunity to do things like storm hardening, conversion to LED lighting and low-flow plumbing fixtures, more energy efficient and resilient windows, solar power, and more. We offer higher loan amounts and also discounted interest rates to borrowers who will build their new home or commercial building using a green certified construction program. And we currently support LEED, Florida Green Building Certified, and Energy Star programs. And we don't just talk the talk, we actually walk the walk too. So both of our branches today are being built to LEED certified platinum standards, or in the case of existing buildings, being renovated to LEED certified platinum. They will achieve that designation, and we will do the same with our eventual third office when it's built in Mount Dora, Florida, which is about 20 miles north of Orlando. So to that point, I also want to talk about our focus on social lending. We realize that doing right for the planet also means doing right for society. So we have a focus to lend on socially impactful projects in the communities that we serve. And this includes things like education, the arts and culture, workforce development, workforce housing, beneficial and inclusive financial services, loans that serve the low to moderate income communities, healthy food, social justice, and more. All of this contributes to a healthier society with greater equity for all. Now, in a few moments, you're going to hear a little bit from Emma with Legacy Vacation Resorts. And since one of the main catalysts for addressing climate change in the for-profit sector is a focus on partnership, I would like to highlight our partnership. Climate First Bank has worked with Legacy Vacation Resorts on numerous projects over the past year. This has included a few rooftop solar loans, which have significantly reduced the resort's resilience on the grid for energy. And of course, it provides a cost savings for the guests, those in the timeshare facilities. Additionally, they tapped into our Green Community Association loan program when we provided a green condo retrofit credit facility for one of their properties, which is a condominium structure. This $4.2 million loan provided both energy and water efficiency in one of these condo communities. So, Legacy has been a great partner to work with because they get it. And I'm sure many of you, if you're attending these calls, you get it as well. And that makes our job a lot easier as an environmentally focused bank. But that's not always the case. And we know that. So here in Florida, we're eager to do business and make an impact. And we put education first. So if you or someone you know is interested in learning more, just know that we're a phone call or an email away. And we start with the education, and then we can get into talking about all the details of the product itself. But I want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We're always grateful for opportunities to partner with other purpose-driven businesses to create positive impact to the world and take ambitious climate action. Hi everyone, my name is Emma Jacobs, and I am the Social Purpose and Sustainability Manager at Legacy Vacation Resorts. Now we're going to talk about Legacy Vacation Resorts, another certified B Corporation, and our business action on climate change. Every business is different, and each has a special role in taking climate action. We are a vacation resort company based in Orlando, Florida, with locations in Florida, New Jersey, Colorado, and Nevada. As a member of the travel, tourism, and hospitality sector, we recognize our potential in creating positive impact in the world. Legacy Vacation Resorts was the first multi-state resort hospitality company in the U.S. to achieve B Corp certification. We're also a registered benefit corporation like Climate First Bank, meaning we have amended our governing documents to legally commit to creating positive impact for our community, our employees, customers, and our environment. Our mission at Legacy is to provide vacation experiences for families and friends in a manner that respects these stakeholder groups. While using our business as a force for good, we serve as a collaborative steward of the hospitality industry, using compassion, interdependence, and positive impact to drive sustainable economic development. We strive to use travel as a force for good and are taking significant strides to do so, especially in the area of climate impact. Our climate efforts at Legacy are extensive, most of which are rooted in our long list of climate commitments, pledges, and certifications. In addition to being a certified B Corporation and registered benefit corporation, we are a 1% for the Planet member, carbon offset partner with We Are Neutral, and so much more. Before relying on these carbon offsets, however, we try to focus our energy on renewable energy projects to reduce our direct carbon emissions, implement energy and water efficiency projects, and strive to track and reduce as much of our waste as possible. We also have a unique focus on guest education. As a resort company, we reach over 300,000 travelers each year from around the world. We have the potential to create a positive ripple effect, encouraging guests and team members to take home socially and environmentally beneficial practices. However, none of this would be possible without the incredible support from our chairman, Jared Myers. It's never a question of if, only a question of how. Jared's personal values of doing good in the world shine through Legacy's climate action and continue to push us forward as leaders in the sustainable tourism field. As mentioned earlier, our partnerships and pledges are extensive. I could spend our entire time today breaking down each one and its benefits, from B Corp certification, 1% for the Planet membership, and Florida Green Lodging, to Tourism Declares and the Better Business Climate Challenge. We've got our hands in quite a few jars. I'm going to save us some time today and highlight one of our most important partnerships that serves as a compass for our climate efforts to date, the Science Based Targets Initiative. In their own words, the Science Based Targets Initiative is a global body, enabling businesses to set ambitious emissions reduction targets in line with the latest climate science. The SBTI's goal is to provide companies worldwide with the confidence that their climate targets are supporting the global economy to have emissions by 2030 and achieve net zero before 2050. In line with the Paris Agreement goals, the 3,000 plus businesses that are working with the SBTI can rest assured that their climate efforts carry the same sense of urgency as the global climate action movement. Any company can join the SBTI, from Legacy Vacation Resorts to PepsiCo, Colgate-Palmolive, Sony, Tetra Pak, Moody's, Pfizer, and Procter & Gamble. The SBTI welcomes a diverse group of business partners looking to scale up their climate efforts, especially partners from the highest emitting sectors, like manufacturing and natural resource extraction. Being part of the SBTI has many benefits. To highlight a few, aligning your internal climate goals with global targets bakes resilience into your business. It boosts innovation, and provides that sense of accountability and transparency to increasingly conscious consumers. For us, science-based targets have benefited us most in narrowing down the seemingly limitless list of potential climate goals and initiatives to focus on what's most pressing and keep us in line with the reality of the global climate emergency. The process for setting a science-based target includes guidance and tools along the way provided by the SBTI team. The steps include commit, develop, submit, communicate, and disclose. Committing begins with submitting a letter of intent for setting your SBTs. Developing is the nitty-gritty process of setting these targets with the help of the SBTI team and their tools. Submitting is an in-depth review of your goals by the SBTI team for official validation. Communicating involves a public announcement of your science-based targets to your internal and external stakeholders. And finally, disclosing ensures annual tracking and reporting on your goals to keep you in line with the targets you've committed to. To put a realistic timeline to this process, here is the LVR experience. In February of 2020, we declared a climate emergency through Tourism Declares, a great partner for climate action in the tourism and travel sector. We then discovered the Science-Based Target Initiative, decided we wanted to become a partner, and started developing our own targets in July of 2020. A few months later, in January 2021, we officially submitted our science-based targets. 2 months later, in March, our targets were approved. We were able to set SBTs with the help of the SME tool. This targets small to medium-sized enterprises looking to scale up their climate action and ground their goals in globally accepted climate science. Our target scope was company-wide, including all 8 of our resorts across 4 states. Our science-based target reads, we will reduce absolute Scope 1 and 2 emissions 50% by 2030 from a 2018 baseline year, and measure and reduce Scope 3 emissions. We had pre-existing internal goals that aligned well with our target, including reducing our company-wide water usage 25% and electricity usage 10% by 2025, as well as our commitment to achieving net zero emissions by 2030. This goal was especially supported by the SBTI, since achieving operational carbon neutrality requires reducing our dependency on carbon offsets as much as possible. Now, the part you've all probably been waiting for. How are we actually meeting this goal? As many of you know, carbon emissions are broken down into 3 scopes. Scope 1 includes direct emissions from company-owned facilities and fleet vehicles. Scope 2 covers purchased electricity, heating, and steam for personal use. And finally, Scope 3 includes the least direct emissions associated with supply chain, waste, banking, company travel, and more. To address Scope 1, we've implemented projects like installing electric vehicle chargers at all 8 of our resorts and strategizing for measurement and reduction of our company fleet vehicle emissions. Scope 2 reduction projects include some of our most extensive initiatives, such as on-site solar, opting into renewables with utility providers as opposed to fossil fuels where available, conducting LED retrofits, installing auto setback thermostat systems, motion sensor lights, and completing Energy Star appliance swap-outs. Scope 3 projects include our less direct emissions. We've targeted this scope with our supply chain engagement, which consists of increasing communication with supplier surveys and relaying our values of social and environmental responsibility. We've targeted waste reduction by switching from plastic to sustainable key cards with carbon labels for guest education, replacing single-use plastic toiletries with refillable soap dispensers in every guest room at all resorts, and handing out reusable water bottles to each of our guests at check-in with refill stations available across all resorts. We've also successfully transitioned our money from a traditional bank to Climate First Bank, who, as you heard, is committed to 100% fossil fuel-free banking, as well as other socially and environmentally beneficial practices. There are many climate initiatives in progress, and we still have a long way to go, but I hope this gave context for the behind-the-curtain actions to reach our ambitious climate goals at Legacy Vacation Resorts. Overall, businesses play a key role in addressing climate change. I once heard a sobering quote at a sustainability conference years ago. 100 businesses are responsible for 70% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. The power of business is strong, and we have surefire methods available to make real change. Grounding in holistic, effective partnerships like the B Corp certification and science-based targets helps to keep businesses on track. The resources out there on business climate action are plentiful, many of which are provided by these helpful partnerships. Top-down support and integrating climate action into your company mission, business model, and culture ensures a supportive structure for climate efforts. Avoiding the mistake of relying solely on carbon offsets will ensure you make real carbon reductions on your journey to impactful climate action. Finally, being in touch with a community of like-minded businesses will keep you up to date with best practices and tools to help amplify impact across the board. As Barack Obama once said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Let's all do our part to take action on climate change, a global emergency, a pressing issue that impacts us all, yet one that we have the power to address. Thanks everyone so much for your attention, for your time, and your efforts. I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions.